Hey y'all, welcome to the Grad Missions Office Hours podcast. I'm Autumn.
Hey everyone, I'm Lizanne.
Hi, everyone. I'm Logan. All right, here's our burning question for today. Our burning question is, how do law schools actually decide who's going to get in?
Dartboards.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Um,
do.
Whack-a-mole.
It does feel like
Yeah.
whack-a-mole, especially in a cycle like this, right?
For sure, for
Oh my
sure.
gosh.
Yeah,
Lizzie, remind me,
so
were you working in law admissions in 2016?
yes,
So
I
we remember
was.
what this bump was like. It
We
wasn't quite
do.
this bumpy.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't a
quite this
mountain.
bumpy, but yeah, that was my introduction to law admissions on them.
Woo!
So yeah, I will start off with what everyone loves to hear, which is law schools take a holistic review of the applications that are in front of them. That is just such a buzzword, when it comes to admissions. People will even say when you're working in a law school, do you guys take a holistic view of my application? And that is something that people don't even really know what that means. So I will say there are parts of the application that they'll say are optional, but from our experience are mandatory. So those supplemental essays, you really want to work on those. You want to create that personal narrative, starting with your personal statement, getting really strong letters of recommendation, always from someone in the academic space, and then maybe two from the academic space, and then a supervisor, a mentor. Getting those in early are really going to be important. Perspective statements, addendums to anything, character and fitness. So all of those kind of extra pieces of the application that they do look at, I think are really important to spend some time on because you do want to create that strong personal narrative of who you are, why you want to go to law school, why you would make an excellent law student and a future practitioner in the law space. Also, too, showing up. So requesting a tour, requesting a visit, requesting an interview. Again, it's unlikely that a law school is going to make an interview mandatory, but from our perspective, it is. You want to show face. You want to put the finesse on the application of showing this is who I am and these are my goals, these are my aspirations, this is what I'm working toward. So really putting your face forward, even if it's a virtual visit, is going to be really important. I'm trying to think of some other holistic pieces. Um, but yeah, just including anything and everything that you can to help your application stand out. Notwithstanding two really important pieces of the application. So that's the other side of the holistic review, where people are like, well, these other two things don't really matter because I'll have really great essays. I'll have really good letters of rec. I'll go do a stellar interview. And Autumn, what are those two pieces that sometimes are overlooked?
Height and weight. No, just kidding. It's your BMI. No,
Yeah.
not, but it is a number that's really important that nobody likes to talk about, and that's your
Mhm.
cumulative GPA and your LSAT score.
Mhm.
And you can be, you know, an award-winning author, but if you have a 147 on the LSAT
Yeah.
or a 2.4 GPA, that's a really steep hill to climb.
Mhm.
And so, I talked recently with the LSAT Demon podcast about what law schools are looking for whenever they're building a class. And so I think sometimes law school applicants get very focused on what an admissions committee is looking for in their application, right? Like we
Mhm.
get it's like a toddler, like I have a 2-year-old right
Yeah.
now and she is so cute, but like you just forget how
Oh.
dumb they are. Like they're so smart
Mhm.
about so many things, but like they're so dumb about some things because they just don't know. So she is in
Mhm.
the phase where she thinks if she closes her eyes, none of us can see her.
Mhm.
So
Oh, that's a cute phase.
she's like the worst hide and seek player ever. She's like,
Mhm.
"What am I? Ready, set, go." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Sister, like you're
Yeah.
right here. You just can't see us."
Mhm.
And I think when I see law school applicants, sometimes it seems a little, I'm not saying you're dumb, but you get so hyper focused on what your application says that you don't
Mhm.
realize that is one stitch in a
Yeah.
massive tapestry of people
Yeah.
applying to law school. And as folks who have sat in those boardrooms as these
Mhm.
admissions decisions are being made, um, there are moments where on the big screen, like we will pull up your transcript and look
Yeah.
semester by semester to see like what happens. But what has piqued our interest in zooming in that close?
Uh-huh.
is your LSAT and your GPA,
Yeah.
right? Like that is what gets us to bite and to take a
Yeah.
closer look at your application. You are going to be presumptively denied if you apply significantly below both medians. The end. Especially if they don't see a future LSAT score in your calendar of plans on your LSAT,
Yeah.
you're going to be presumptively denied because we want to give you, that's just the ethical thing to do. Like you are not getting in. We're going to send you a deny so that you can get your stuff together and apply next cycle with a better score. And so the reason that law schools are so consumed with this is because of the US News ranking.
Yeah.
Right? This is what university presidents care about. This is what alumni care about. This is what regents care about. This is how, when law schools are trying to recruit faculty, they care
Or
about
get donors for
oh my gosh.
scholarships.
Yes, don't like soup to nuts, even applicants, right? Like
Yeah.
we get better applicants when we're ranked better. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish
Yeah.
we could go back to like whoever's like which law school makes you the happiest? Okay, well then they're the best law school. But like that's not the world that we live in. And so
Yeah.
because most law schools have to play this US News game, they are very focused on maintaining or improving their medians. And so you have to be a value add in one of those data-driven regions before we can even you have to pass the science part of your application before we can get to the art. The art matters.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't have a job if the art didn't matter.
Yeah.
Art is the finesse that gets you the scholarship, right?
For sure.
But to get your foot in the door, you have to do the LSAT and the GPA. GPA actually helps law schools more with their US News ranking. We break down the index scores of how they configure those rankings. GPA matters a lot. There are some things that we cannot control, right? Lizanne and I lived in a state that was constantly in the news for really horrific things. And every time our governor would do something really unethical, our reputation rank would drop because a part of the US News ranking is literally this. Okay, this is how the sausage is made. It is literally to select judges, law deans, and university presidents, and like specific members of the bar. They will, US News sends, it's just a literal list of every ABA accredited law school. And they ask you to number rank them. And then they send it back. It used to be mail. Do you hear me being almost a boomer? They send it back in, and then US News calibrates that. It is very hard to change ranking, right?
Yeah.
You can fall in the rankings if your state starts doing really backwards things. We have been there, but it's really hard to change ranking, right? Like you're going to have your Ivies at the top, the end. You're going to have your major players at the top. There's nothing that you can do. GPA can really weight and impact your ranking score up. LSAT can really move your ranking score up. So you may think that the admissions committee is like just hyper focused on every single word that you say, but they are not your mom. Their world does not revolve around you. And you have to do something really special to make your application pop. Starting with
Absolutely.
LSAT.
When you were describing that, I was thinking, should we go back to the sorority recruitment podcast?
I
Like
mean,
they're making what is it called? Mutual selection or something like that. But
right.
there are so many things in play in the background, but we can only focus on, what's in front of us when we have a client. Obviously, those academic thresholds are super important. But the committees do care, about who you are, what makes you
Some of them.
you, and that's why we, if you've met the thresholds, I'll
That's right.
say,
That's right.
again. And so I never want to, discourage anyone from telling their story, but you have to tell it in a way that these committees who are reading literally thousands of applications in a short amount of time makes it stand out. And we're not making up a story. We're just putting your story, your unique background out so that it does get read under such a time crunch and a pressure crunch for these schools.
This was good. This is good information. I know Lizanne and Autumn have to hop out actually to meet with some JD clients
Yes.
on their applications, but something that maybe we should talk about in one of our next podcasts is how much does the US News and World Report ranking actually matter in terms of getting your dream career? That would be something I'd be interested
Ooh.
to
I have
hear what
so
your
many
thoughts
thoughts.
are. That's obviously a
It's a
whole
great one.
other podcast topic, but maybe we
Absolutely.
can talk about that next time. So, all
Absolutely.
right. Well, we're going to go ahead and turn off the lights in our podcast loft. But as you know, the lights are always on in our socials. Give us a follow at Grad Missions. We will see you all next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye, friends.